already there's a vision, without even going to, no, let me go think about it. Already there's a vision that you see things waking up, you see Gauteng is too populated, but that shouldn't be a negative thing.
Yes.
That should be a positive thing. Why don't we make sure that our public transport works? Let's work on the numbers. Why don't we make sure that our rail systems within the province itself, so that goods and services move swiftly? Why don't we make sure that the crime, the corruption is out by implementing oversight, proper oversight? And the only way to have proper oversight is if we come up with a system in most of our departments where it's a PPP. We need public-private partnerships. Because one thing about the private sector, because its main goal is profit. They don't play when it comes to no. They don't play when it comes to governance. They make sure that governance goes well in a private company, where you find your likes of Stenhoffs and all that, is because there was political influence that came through and just messed up the whole thing. You understand? So we need PPPs, and there's a lot of PPPs that are working well. Gauteng is doing well. Mobile is doing well. Derco is doing well. The Department of Trade and Industry is doing well. Those are PPPs. So we can learn a lot from there. So we need to go and partner with the best of the best that know how to do things. This thing of politicians, that is why when I listen to politicians on podcasts and he can answer every question, I'm like, you can't know everything. It's impossible. You have to be a leader that is willing to learn from the best, keep the best around you, and let them guide you in most of your decision making.
It's funny when we're talking about leadership. There's a guy, I think it's John Maxwell, who says, if you think you're a leader and no one is following you, you're just taking a walk. If you're not taking people anywhere.
And if you're a leader, people will follow you. You don't even need to convince them.
And leaders, remember, there's bad and good leaders. Mm-hmm. But all of them are leaders. So they've got following, yeah.
So Tshepo's taking us to a cleaner Gauteng. What else would be the features in your dream of a better Gauteng? So it's cleaner. You've gotten that part. It's cleaner. It has less loitering. There's less people who are breaking bylaws and doing whatever they like. There's structure, there's law, there's order. What else is there?
Look, the second thing that I would go for investment.
Okay.
I would want to make Gauteng more viable, because making it clean and making it safe brings investment. So when you've got investment, it's easy for people to get jobs. It's easy to get venture capitalists, where they think, wow, this idea works, why don't I invest in it, right? But if we cannot tackle the issue of unemployment, because it's coupled with an energy problem, we have to get Gauteng off the grid somehow from Eskom. If Eskom is still doing it, we need to somehow come up with a mixed energy source that can power Gauteng alone. You understand? So that even when investments come in, they can still sustain themselves. Because one of the things that is killing South Africa in its entirety, and Gauteng in particular, is load shedding. Yes. So we need every municipality to have its own coal power station, to be powered well for its residents, and we need a proper plan when it comes to human settlement, because we need to place people in places where they can easily reach services, or services can easily reach them, and we need to allocate our people places where it's easily to actually even sustain yourself. Don't put them in areas where they cannot farm, where there's no, it's not conducive for agricultural activities to take place.
So here's another question then. You're talking about accommodation. What is your views on illegal immigration? How, if you ascend to Fox Street, how do you deal with that issue? Because there's a housing backlog. that we all know Ugogo's been waiting since 1997, but because Lindsay or Akani has a little bit of money, they can jump the queue.
Especially Lindsay.
How do you tackle that? Because you did mention that you'll use the red ants to clean the hijacked buildings, which I assumed you confirm. I assume then that will form part of your additional accommodation for your citizens. But my issue is the immigration issue is a national issue. How will you be able to tackle it within your provincial powers?
Linzito, any criminal act must be dealt with by the police. If we find ourselves in a position where we are asking ourselves who will deal with a criminal element within a society, it means it's a clear sign to show that our police have been compromised. In the first place, we shouldn't even have illegal immigrants, right?
Yes.
Now, because we have them now, we have to go make sure that oversight is done properly. Because how come we have people that are not registered and are just living amongst us? It means that these people have paid somebody that is a South African that has allowed it to happen. Like the society needs to also take the blame on this.
Yes.
But when we tackle it as the government, we tackle it as a national problem. We have to call in the commissioner of the police. We need to call in the MECs of the safety cluster. All the security cluster needs to come together. And we need to just clean our cities and our provinces. It's not difficult, guys. The only difference is that the ANC made some pact with other countries when they were hiding there in exile. Because they were hiding, what else were they doing? They were hiding in exile, and they made promises with their friends, their counterparts. When we get into power, don't worry, it's gonna be free for all. You know, the way you want. Don't stress.
We're going to have a united Africa, but only in South Africa.
You understand?
The unity will start in South Africa.
Exactly.
And you'll find creative ways of getting there.
I mean, we don't even have a problem with them coming here. We don't even have a problem with any African coming to South Africa. They just have to do it legally. I mean,
yes.
It also helps them. I mean, it also helps everybody that stays in South Africa.
The budget as well.
Why would somebody want to come here illegally? It's because they're up to no good. It means there's something that we should question, eh?
You know what's funny is the normal media narrative tells us that, oh, people are moving to the Western Cape and whatever. But the truth of the matter is, in terms of net migration numbers, Gauteng is still number one. There are more people moving into Gauteng than there are into any other part of the country.
I think it's 36,000. Right? 36,000 people a month.
And what is funny is that a lot of our inward migration, right, is on land. But Gauteng doesn't share a border with any other of our neighboring states. So it means, like you're saying, that there's a lot of things that are happening in Mpumalanga, in Limpopo, in the Northwest, in the Free State,
in the Northern Cape,
and in the Northern Cape, that end up affecting Gauteng as the hub. So how would you then, from Gauteng looking outwards now, dealing with our neighboring provinces, what would that look like for you?
I hope that when I go into office of the Premier, when I clean my sofas and my chairs and my desk where Banyaza used to sit on and shine them nicely and prepare the cabinets and everything, that my counterparts in other provinces will be sharp as me when it comes to solving issues in their provinces. But I'll help them. I'll call them. I'll call all the 9.
So you'll also create like a little Premier League where you say, "Chance,
yes.
Let's pass the ball to each other."
I'll call them. It's so surprising that sometimes you'll hear the Minister of Police complaining about the Minister of Justice, as if they don't as if they don't go to parties together, you know.
They don't sit in the same committee.
Same NEC, same security cluster.
They sit in every, but you will complain like, God, my God, why don't you just speak to your counterpart? So,
got his cell phone number as well.
you know, I'll call them to the city of Go to say, guys, let's meet with the president. I'll ask the president to intervene, and I'll say to him, how about we call your premiers and sit together and see how we can solve this immigration issue and other issues that are affecting my province. Because as a president, you expect me to actually perform at the best of my ability, but I will need help from my counterparts. So I'll call them, sit down, let's see how we can fix other provinces so that they don't affect my province, because that's what they should be doing now. They should be talking about that, so that problems from Limpopo shouldn't affect Gauteng, and problems from Gauteng shouldn't affect Cape Town. We should only just meet when there's summits, when we are exploring the beauty that is coming from our provinces. It's very important that we build such a culture when it comes to leadership structures.
So here's another interesting question that I have for you. Going to Fox Street, you're an independent candidate, which means that you don't come into the race with a team. What does your NEC structure look like? The team that you appoint, or how will you appoint them? Because when you are a member of a political party, you've already discussed. Mang is going to take this position, Mang is going to take... So you going as an individual...
Or even if you haven't discussed, they'll tell you. Spanman, Habasali.
Yeah.
Make a plan for them. So how would you choose the people that will work with you?
Look, I can tell you now, we've got very capable men on the ground that are just compromised by the pocket, and they are compromised by party lines. As an independent candidate, the nice thing about it, when I assume office, it means that the parties did not get along. So the situation will work like this. For me to be
the commander.
Yeah. So
the compromise.
Yeah, I'll be that guy that, okay, let's just settle with this guy. So the conditions on the ground for me, on the table, for me to ascend the chair, I will put these conditions. I'm looking in every party. I'm looking for the best of the best. Give me 5 candidates from each party. Let me go sit down. Let me go look at their track records. Let me take it through let me go test this track records. If I find that you were an MEC of agriculture and you've done well, you understand your structures properly, these milestones, these things that you've done that proves that you are a capable cadre for that.
So you'll do the vetting before you appoint and not after the person has done something.
No, I will not do that. So that's how I'll work. I'll take professionals and those that have got ability to lead but don't have the substance enough. I'll take them to courses. They will need to go through some trainings before they can even be considered, right? So all the MECs under my leadership, they will not have permanent posts. It will be a month-to-month basis because we are measuring you based on. I'll also put myself on a month-to-month basis. If you think that
same like your Wi-Fi contract, you don't pay, they switch it off immediately.
No. So I'll be like that. I'll say, guys, give me 100 days in office. See this is the milestones that I'll do. And if I don't do it, then I'll chip off. I'll go. It means I'll still have a lot to learn. Then
talking about switching off. A couple of days ago, there was a ceremonial switch off of the e-tolls. And Panyansa was there making it like a big deal, as if they are not the ones who gave us these things to begin with. How would you avoid such a catastrophe where national government and the province, they decide on nonsense that everybody doesn't want, and we tell them we're not going to pay, and then they still make us pay, and then eventually we fight, and then they're okay, again. Then they switch off. How would you avoid such things where the government runs along with a project that the people don't want and ends up having to be embarrassed and switching it off. How would you avoid such a thing? Because I'm just assuming that you wouldn't want such a blunder.
No, definitely, Akani. So what I will do, I will consult with the people. You know, this thing is simple. You just said that the people said they don't want it, and they just went along with it. So it shows that they are not in touch with the ground. Sometimes I even wonder, the people that are, the people that are on this list that you're talking about of MECs and ministers on different portfolios, right? Sometimes I wonder if they've got constituencies. And you know what? I can tell you they don't have constituencies. These people are just people that are handpicked by a leader.
That's why you have a pharmacist who is the finance minister. You have a teacher who is the minister of health.
And even people in health don't know him. Like at least be known in the health space. You say that is your constituents, right? But these people don't have. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because if you are a leader of society, you are not there to tell them what they want. You are there to implement what they want.
Yes.
So imagine if they tell me we don't want, I'll give you a typical example, that we don't want solar.
Yes.
Then we will not have solar systems. Because the majority rules, that's democracy. But it looks like this country claims to be a democratic country, but it looks like it's a dictation, it's a police state in disguise.
Claim indeed, and I kind of will tell you, because we have this issue as well, where they say it's for the people, by the people, but the judiciary sits on certain things and they're like, you're the people, you can't decide in this one, we've made our decision.
Imagine.
So I completely agree with you.
And maybe let me just jump in quickly. When the judiciary says, this is what will happen and this is our ruling, and the people say, no, we don't want that, do you know who must go and contest that? There are representatives in parliament to say such a law, our people don't want anymore. How about we amend it, or how about we come up with a new law? But because the same people that are saying we don't want this thing are not represented by anyone, those people are not representing anyone. I mean, how is it possible that, just imagine this, Linzito. Imagine this, 80% of parliamentarians in parliament are black. It means they represent the same constituents, black people. But have they ever agreed on a single thing? Nothing, because it clearly shows that these people are not there for the people. Are there? So
they represent other interests.
They are looking for that one voice that is not going to take it. Do you understand how crazy I'm going to be, guys, when I get to parliament? I don't have to listen to it. I don't have a chief whip. I'm a chief whip to myself. You understand?
So chief whip / incoming premier. How would you deal with the issue of tenders? What would be your requirement? Because obviously we know there are repeat applicants whom we've come to know as tenderpreneurs. What would be to say, okay, you got that tender, now you are coming back for another tender. What would be the requirements for that person to qualify for his first tender, to qualify for his second tender? What rules would you put surrounding or around the whole process of tenders within the province?
What a very interesting question, and I love that so much. Tender systems are good. A tender system in its nature is not a bad system.
Yes.
But the people that have to oversee these processes
and adjudicate
the committee,
yes, are a problem. So the first question is, how do you even get the first tender? Obviously, the first tender, you have to meet the requirements, and it will depend on what kind of a tender it is. I mean, you can't get a Tshepo getting a tender to build a bridge.
He's never built one before.
No, so it means
that they even build the stoop.
My man, you have never built anything. Except for your life.
Cement.
Maybe any problems will be in your whole life. So, firstly, we need to have professionals that are doing what they intend. Unless it's by internet, what they need to do. Like you'll get a doctor that will get a tender of medical supplies, medical advice, medical this. You understand?
In his field.
In his field. But that doctor has to come with a subcontractor, a junior to them, so that
A small business.
so that they can feed off this big business. How do you get the second tender? This doctor that has come with a subcontractor that is a small business that has fed from them has to prove a track record of this small tender, of this small business making it in the learning process of the big tender.
Skills transfer.
Skill transfer. Or, if you had the first tender in construction, then we need to see something in an establishment. Now we have to come to your premises. We have to get you in a warehouse where you manufacture bricks or manufacture whatever tender you're in.
But it must be a progression.
Yes. If it's a media tender, then the next time we have to come. We have to get to having a studio.
So we don't want major construction companies like our brother who bought the 5 cars. He doesn't own a baki. He doesn't even have a tail piñata. Doesn't own spades.
But he calls himself a contractor.
5 Porsches, 1 go.
And he's a contractor. This guy. He doesn't even own a spade. Doesn't know where Haraf is. Because it looks like it's money laundering. It looks like it's money just moving from one account to the next account. But you ask yourself this question. I don't mind seeing all these things happening. Where are the people that are expected to oversee this process?
So to get paid to oversee.
Yes! Because we should blame those. These are the people. It's like now blaming somebody that is driving 140 on a 120 highway or on a 120 road.
So, yeah.
Why are you blaming me? Go blame this. You should blame the
visible police.
Yes! They should be there to tackle this guy. You understand? Imagine that. Do you know that even the traffic cops now don't even have cars? They go
to work with the personal.
Imagine now we're gonna be. You know what that problem is?
So sorry to interject you. The problem that you're speaking about, we had a similar problem just last week in Soweto, where a young man is presumed or alleged to have driven recklessly or didn't stop at a stop street, and he was followed by a private vehicle, and because his mum is a metro officer, he called the mum to say, "Yay, I don't know, this guy is following me," because obviously the vehicle's not marked. "This guy is following me, I don't know if they are trying to hijack me or what." He drives home. When he gets home, mum comes out, mum sees the car, and she sees obviously the guys with the guns. She shoots at them, they shoot back, they kill the mum.
Do you know what that tells you? Do you know a mirage? Okay, do you know a mirror?
Yes.
When you look at all the social ills happening, of police institutionalizing themselves, because once a traffic cop, which is the mom, gets out of the house with a pistol and shoots, already they are an institution they are law unto themselves.
Yes.
But that is a microcosm
Of the society.
Of the kind of leaders. It's a perfect mirror of the kind of leaders we have in the leadership position. So when you see a pothole, appreciate it. You know why? Just know that it's a face representing somebody sitting in an office somewhere who is useless, who can't do anything about anything. So when you get the minister of police who cannot manage a department, he used to do very well, by the way, Shem Ndasi. He used to do very well.
When he was a
commissioner.
When he was a commissioner. But I don't know what happened. The guy has lost everything. He has lost reasoning. He's become a bourgeoisie. And that's what happens to politicians. Once they become into position of power, they become bourgeoisies, they get lost. Then it trickles down to departments. That's why you get police that are now criminals themselves. Because if a leader of society, a king, for example,
Yes.
can be seen dancing with 15-year-old girls at a party, do you know what kind of a society we're going to have? The very same society that the king is leading is going to become a perfect reflection of what he's putting on the ground. So, the kind of leaders that we put into leadership positions should have a very good track record when it comes to behavior and discipline, because it's the kind of society that we're going to have. So, I'm understanding your question very well, but we've got a broken system that needs agent people on the ground that are going to say, no, not in my lifetime. Imagine this, my son asking me in about 40 years' time, obviously I'll still be complaining, because once you're a complainant, you're complaining forever. So I'll still be complaining as an old man. He's going to say to me, what did you do?
Yes.
I want to say, my boy, I once went on the ballot paper and I became a premier. Do you see how Gauteng is today?
Like,
If it was not for me, it was going to be worse. Today is clean. Today the infrastructure is well.
People love the place.
People want to come to Gauteng to come and take pictures, like at the sea and Durban in Cape Town.
Like at, what is it? Ayadin and Max's Lifestyle. You fly to Durban just to go take a picture on that walkway.
Yeah.
You understand?
So that you can put it on Instagram.
You know what? You know what I always say? Like, I always say that if we cannot take care of these Molanyana issues of electricity and water, people being killed with water in Hammanskraal, guys, when are we gonna even experience electric cars? Like, when are we even gonna send some space? When are we gonna send a satellite to the moon? When are we gonna send these things to the, when are we gonna advance in technology? Because we've got the capabilities. Do you know that Dinel,
Yes.
when it built a ray farm, the world did not see it coming. The world was shocked.
The top 3.
If you see a ray farm in action, my brother, you'd think this thing was built in Europe somewhere. No, it was built here, just at the back of our yards.
But yes, my issue with the Rooifal and with the Nel. Yes, it was manufactured in Gauteng. We know that. But what we also aware of is that the IP is gone. If you get into and that IP is gone because of national issues. But if you get into Fox Street and you now have an opportunity where you have that little bit of power that comes with being a premier, how do you envisage bringing this thing back? And obviously, from your background in the military and in the Air Force, you probably know a lot more of these guys who have lived. How do you bring back that thing? Because one Roy Falk is 2 billion rand. So if we get 10, there's 20 billion rand that comes into the coffers, and that's a lot of money. But if we get even one order for a Roy Falk, now who's going to build it?
Precisely that's the leadership issue there. Now you're talking directly to the leadership issue. If we have a company like Dinel that we know for a fact that has built this machine that the world loves so much and it has just made wonders in wars, why are we today talking about the non-existence of Rayfan? It's because of the leadership that doesn't have a vision. Like, these people don't understand the kind of intellectual property that needs to be preserved. And I'll give an example also in the agriculture space. And this is going to shock you, by the way. The Department of Agriculture doesn't know the amount of land they have.
Yes. Neither does the Department of Public Works know how many buildings they own.
Oh wow. So when do we put a stop to hijacking? Because you can hijack. That means you can hijack a building that belongs to the state, and the state won't know that that's their building.
So you need you need to be on oversight. If oversight is such a big issue for us, why don't we partner with companies that are experts when it comes to oversight, that are strictly independent from government? Run this process parallel with them. Because the minute we fix oversight, every other thing will fall into place. We'll not hire the wrong person for the wrong job. We'll not have people sleeping on their job. We'll not have dilapidating infrastructure.
We will not have people with fake PhDs being part of presidential task teams.
And people who bought their residency certificates and their CEOs
or their DGs of government departments.
And local CEOs are sitting at home unemployed.
Do you know how sad that is? Imagine you've got a real PhD, my guy.
And then you see this one with the fake one.
And you know that this guy, this one doesn't have a PhD, this one. But he's busy talking nonsense there. He's busy wearing ties, he's busy manka away. South Africa is in love with narrators.
They love stories.
Yeah, they love stories. That's why when you can tell them about a Dintswan, then the whole month I'm going to talk about Dintswan. So it's exciting. Like, yeah, Dintswan, this, I'm not. We are good complaining on Twitter. We're not action. We're not action people. We can't take action. We're not angry enough. But it's coming that time. A revolution is coming. The one thing that I'm afraid of is that we have an unled revolution. I want to be part of those people that lead that revolution. So that when
the structure and discipline.
Yeah, we don't want the French Revolution. We don't want that one in small pockets that just happened. We want the one that
July 21
unrest.
You want that Egypt one where you remove the bad leader and then you replace him with nothing. And then things get bad and they get even worse than what they were before. So, okay, my last question is a question that a lot of people, I think, in your space would have to answer. Because you are hoping to replace an existing structure, right? What does Gauteng without ANC leadership look like?
It looks so beautiful. I want you to close your eyes and imagine this as I speak it. A Gauteng without the ANC, it's fresh, it smells good. That's the first thing. At least when you wake up, there's a fresh smell. They are out in somewhere in Mpumalanga. So sorry for the candidate in Mpumalanga. They are coming that side. So firstly, it's clean. Secondly, it's got these kids that go to the park and go play without fearing of crime and being stolen. Thirdly, it's got the police that have got a beautiful investigating professional team that can go and tackle cases, right? It's got this beautiful, beautiful premier who listens to the people on the ground, who visits townships, who visits towns, who goes to malls and go and see what the kind of things that are happening on our ground. But the most important thing about this beautiful Gauteng that is without the ANC is because it doesn't have factions. Everybody can work well together. They will fight. Sometimes they'll have arguments, they'll have disputes. But you know what? In that administration, they always have a common ground, they always have solutions, they always have something to take out of a meeting, not these things we're seeing now. You can now open your eyes.
Wow.
I opened it up slightly because I was like, yay, let me wake up from this dream. But they say dreams do come true.
They do.
Yeah, so I know it's I can't like asking the question, but I'm gonna rephrase it, and obviously it's part of our question as the podcast. What is the one thing that, so we've spoken just over almost an hour and a half. What is the one thing that we didn't speak about that you feel is very important that our viewers and the listeners need to know?
Change. Viewers, don't be afraid of change. Change is very uncomfortable. It's an act of the brave. Let's change the status quo. If there's one thing that you need to do, if you don't protect yourself, at least protect others.
Oh, wow.
Because by making that X on the 29th of May, even if you don't believe in the system, go do it for your kids. They can't vote.
Yes.
But yet they are subjected to crime. They are subjected to lack of service delivery. They are subjected to education that is not right for them.
Your choices affect them.
Exactly. So don't be afraid of change. Let's go put new people that we can test. We've already tested this once. We know they can't do it. They know also they can't do it. So why must we trust them, guys? So if there's one thing that I would like to tell South Africans is don't be afraid of change. Because change is coming, whether you like it or not.
That's it from me. Tshepo Mogano, independent candidate. His name will be on the ballot for the Gauteng voters. Those of you who are registered to vote, you'll definitely see his name under the Gauteng list, the provincial independent list. From me, Mr. Linzito, the number one motivator outside of the equator, sharpen our way.
Cheers and goodbye. Thanks.
Yo, Mr. Green, how am I?